Namaste, Dhanavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are also giving our full obeisances, our Dhanavat Pranam to the lotus feet of Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for providing us this wonderful commentary and translation of Srimad Bhagavatam. And due to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's statement that unless we can understand Srimati Radharani through the 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam, our Bhagavatam reading has been a waste. We are also giving our obeisances, our honor to Srimati Radharani. Yadhi seva vanchitasyama yasya kripaya vayam labema sarvam prapnumha prayojanam damni Shri Bhagavat Pade Krishna sambandhi sarvam cha yadina jani mahe tutam astadasasu sahasreshu shlokanam Bhagavat oktishu radharanim na bindamatada nisfalam Bhagavat adhyayanam radhikaya kripam vina vyartasyat sarva parishrama. If we are cheated out of serving that personality whose mercy awards us everything we need, including residence in the Lord's holy Dham and all things connected to Krishna, and if we cannot understand or discover Srimati Radharani within the 18,000 verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam, then our study of Bhagavatam has been pointless. Without the mercy of Srimati Radharani, all our efforts are in vain. So now we are continuing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order, Chapter 24, chanting the song sung by Lord Śiva. Text 53. Etad rupam anhujeyam atma sudhim abipsatam yad bhakti yogo bayadaha svadharmam anutishtatam. My dear Lord, those who desire to purify their existence must always engage in meditation upon your lotus feet, as described above. Those who are serious about executing their occupational duties and who want freedom from fear must take to this process of bhakti yoga. Purport. It is said that the transcendental name, form, pastimes, and entourage of the Lord cannot be appreciated by the blunt material senses. Therefore, one has to engage himself in devotional service so that the senses may be purified and one can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here, however, it is indicated that those who are constantly engaged in meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord are certainly purified of the material contamination of the senses and are thus able to see the Supreme Lord face to face. The word meditation is very popular in this age amongst the common people, but they do not know the actual meaning of meditation. However, from Vedic literature, we learn that the yogis are always absorbed in meditation upon the lotus feet of the Lord. Dhyanavasti tatadgatena manas pasyanti yam yogina. Bhagavatam 12.13.1. This is the real business of the yogis, to think of the lotus feet of the Lord. Lord Śiva therefore advises that one who is actually serious about purification must engage himself in this type of meditation, or in the mystic yoga system, which will help him not only see the Lord within constantly, but to see him face to face and become his associate in Vaikuntha Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. The word svadharmam, as in svadharmam anutistaham, Svadharmam anuti statam, indicates that the system of Varnashram, which indicates the occupational duties of the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, and which is the perfect institution for humanity, must be supported by Bhakti Yoga if one at all wants security in life. Generally, people think that simply by executing the occupational duties of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, or the duty of a Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi, one becomes fearless or securely attains liberation. But factually, unless all these occupational duties are accompanied by Bhakti Yoga, one cannot become fearless. In Bhagavad Gita, there are descriptions of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, etc. But unless one comes to the point of Bhakti Yoga, these other yogas cannot help one attain the highest perfection of life. In other words, Bhakti Yoga is the only means for liberation. We find this conclusion also in Chaitanya Charitamrita in a discussion between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy regarding a human being's liberation from this material world. In that discussion, Ramananda Roy referred to the execution of Varnashram Dharma, and Lord Chaitanya indicated that Varnashram Dharma was simply external, eho bhaya. Lord Chaitanya wanted to impress upon Ramananda Roy that simply by executing the duties of Varnashram Dharma, one is not guaranteed liberation. Finally, Ramananda Roy referred to the process of Bhakti Yoga. Stane stita shruti gatam tanuvan manobhi. Bhagavatam 10.14.3. Regardless of one's condition of life, if he practices Bhakti Yoga, which begins with hearing, shruti gatam, the transcendental messages of the Lord through the mouth of a devotee, he gradually conquers the unconquerable God. God is known to be unconquerable, but one who submissively hears the words of a self-realized soul conquers the unconquerable. The conclusion is that if one is serious about liberation, he not only should execute the occupational duties of Varnashram Dharma, but should also engage in Bhakti Yoga by beginning hearing from a realized soul. The process will help the devotee conquer the unconquerable Supreme Personality of Godhead and become his associate after giving up the material body. Text 54. Bhavan bhakti matalabhyo dorlabha sarva dehinam svarajasyapya bhimata ekantenatma vidgati. My dear Lord, the king in charge of the heavenly kingdom is also desirous of obtaining the ultimate goal of life, devotional service. Similarly, you are the ultimate destination of those who identify themselves with you, Aham Brahmasmi. However, it is very difficult for them to attain you, or as a devotee, can very easily attain your lordship. Purport. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Vedeshu Dorlabam Adorlabam Atma Bhakto. This indicates that it is very difficult for one to attain the ultimate goal of life and reach the supreme destination, Vaikuntha Loka or Goloka Vrindavan, simply by studying Vedanta philosophy or Vedic literature. However, this highest perfectional stage can be attained by the devotees very easily. That is the meaning of Vedeshu Dorlabam Adorlabam Atma Bhakto. The same point is confirmed by Lord Śiva in this verse. The Lord is very difficult for the karma yogis, jnana yogis, dhyan yogis to attain. Those who are bhakti yogis, however, have no difficulty at all. In the word svarajasya, svar refers to Svargaloka, the heavenly planet, and Svaraja refers to the ruler of the heavenly planet, Indra. Generally, karmis desire elevation to heavenly planets, but King Indra desires to become perfect in Bhakti Yoga. Those who identify themselves as Aham Brahmasmi, I am the Supreme Brahman, one with the Absolute Truth, also ultimately desire to attain perfect liberation in the Vaikuntha planets or Goloka Vrindavan. In Bhagavad Gita 18.55 it is said, Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvata, tato mam tatvato gyatva, vishate tadanantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, he can enter in the kingdom of God. Thus, if one desires to enter into the spiritual world, he must try to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Simply by practicing Bhakti, one can understand the Supreme Lord in truth. But without such understanding, one cannot enter the spiritual kingdom. One may be elevated to the heavenly planets or may realize himself as Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, but that is not the end of realization. One must realize the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by Bhakti Yoga. Then real perfection of life is attained. Text 55. Tam durar adyam aradya satam api durapaya ekanta bhaktya kovanchet Padamulam vinabahi. My dear Lord, pure devotional service is even difficult for the liberated persons to discharge, but devotional service alone can satisfy you. Who will take to other processes of self-realization if he is actually serious about the perfection of life? Purport. The word satam refers to transcendentalists. There are three kinds of transcendentalists, the Jnani, Yogi, and Bhakta. Out of these three, the Bhakta is selected as the most suitable candidate to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is emphasized herein that only one who is outside devotional service would not engage in searching for the lotus feet of the Lord. Foolish people sometimes maintain that God may be attained in any way, either by karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, etc. But here it is clearly stated that it is impossible to obtain the mercy of the Lord by any means but Bhakti Yoga. The word duraradya is especially significant. It is very difficult to attain the lotus feet of the Lord by any method other than Bhakti Yoga. Text 56. Yatra nirvishitam aranam kritanto nabhimanyate vishvam vidvam sayan virya sarya vishvorjita bruva. Simply by expansion of his eyebrows, invincible time personified can immediately vanquish the entire universe. However, formidable time does not approach the devotee who has taken complete shelter at your lotus feet. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 10.34, it is said that the Lord in the shape and form of death destroys all a person's possessions. Mrityu sarva haraschaham. I am all-devouring death. The Lord in the shape of death takes away everything that is created by the conditioned soul. Everything in this material world is subject to perish in due course of time. However, all the strength of time cannot hamper the activities of a devotee, for a devotee takes complete shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord. For this reason only is a devotee free from formidable time. All the activities of the karmis and jnanis, which have no touch of devotional service, are spoiled in due course of time. The material success of karmis is destined to be destroyed. Similarly, the impersonal realization attained by the jnanis is also destroyed in due course of time. Aruhya kritrena Haruya kritrena param padam tataha patantyado nadrita yusmad angraya. Bhagavatam 10.2.32. To say nothing of the karmis, the jnanis undergo severe austerities to attain impersonal Brahmajyoti, but because they do not find the lotus feet of the Lord, they fall down again into this material existence. Unless one is fully situated in unalloyed devotional service, there is no guarantee of liberation, even if one is elevated to the heavenly planets or to the impersonal Brahman effulgence. A devotee's achievement, however, is never lost by the influence of time. Even if a devotee cannot completely execute devotional services in his next life, he begins from the point where he left off. Such an opportunity is not given to the karmis and jnanis, whose achievements are destroyed. The bhakta's achievement is never destroyed, for it goes on perpetually, be it complete or incomplete. This is the verdict of all Vedic literatures. Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brasto Bijayate. If one is unable to complete the process of bhakti yoga, he is given a chance in his next life to take birth in a pure family of devotees or in a rich family. In such families, a person can have a good opportunity to further progress in devotional service. When Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, was instructing his assistants, he told them not to approach the devotees. The devotees should be offered respect, he said, but do not go near them. Thus, the devotees of the Lord are not under the jurisdiction of Yamaraj. Yamaraj is a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he controls the death of every living entity. Yet he has nothing to do with the devotees. Simply by blinking his eyes, time personified can destroy the entire cosmic manifestation, but he has nothing to do with the devotee. In other words, devotional service which is rendered by the devotee in this lifetime can never be destroyed by time. Such spiritual assets remain unchanged, being beyond the influence of time. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 57 on Monday. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Niskam Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhakti Veda Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Nrshingapali Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Bade Subhadra Ju Ki Jai, Ganga Mai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai, Sham Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari 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 Bol. Ashimati Uma Devi Dasi Ki Jai. Hare
Gurudev. Sripad Krishna Keshav Prabhu Ji ki jai. Dandavat pranam.
Jai Gurudev Dhanavad Stiti.